Thank you for joining the Earth Angels Writing YouTube channel. If you would like to subscribe, go ahead and do that now. If you would like to hit the notification bell, you can do that now as well. I will be delivering weekly spiritual messages based on the times that we are now living in and on trending news and trending topics. Today, I want to briefly talk about trending news of Kanye West. And I know for the past week or a little over a week, many fans and many celebrities have been outraged at several of his tweets, specifically his tweets in support of the current president, Donald Trump, and his administration, his tweets against the previous president, Barack Obama, and then with lately his comments that he made about slavery on TMZ. I don't know if it was TMZ live or pre-recorded, but he made a statement that slavery was a choice. Now, I didn't watch the full interview on TMZ. I'm only responding to the clips that has been trending on social media and the statement that was said that everyone has been responding to, and mostly in a majority of against what he's saying. Now, I did see a little bit of an interview that Charlemagne the God had with TMZ, where he stated that either in the interview that he had with Kanye West or Kanye West mentioned to him separately, privately, that he was saying that statement in context of mental slavery. So that kind of cleared up a little bit. Yeah, end of the day, I'm really going to say you have to consider the source. I can understand being offended by that, but you have to be very careful how you connect your emotions to these sensationalized clips and statements that these celebrities are saying, and it start trending on social media. You have to be very careful to connect yourself, how you connect yourself to that, because it's a spiritual price, an emotional price and connection you make when you can keep connecting yourself to false things that's trending on social media. And I'm not saying it's false in the sense that he didn't say it. I'm saying it could be orchestrated, because we know that Kanye West is mentally and emotionally unstable. In my opinion, he's gone under some MK Ultra, several witchcraft, because we know those Kardashians are high priest witches. And I don't know if this is what this man truly feels, or this is something that has been programming him to feel and to say. So that's why I say, you have to be very careful what you jump on and what you respond to. And you definitely have to consider the source. And taking that came from Kanye West, I kind of was like, okay, I don't really know where he's going with that. Yeah, I didn't get emotionally attached or outraged or angered to that, because I'm considering the source. And another thing, is only one man's opinion, and he has the right to support and vote for whoever he wants to, and share his opinions. And if they're different from mine, they're different from mine. Now, I understand people say he has a platform that can influence other people. That's true. It can influence other people. But that's where you need to have the Lord with you. That's where you need to have a spiritual eye and discernment, But we know that a lot of the youth today and a lot of adults, they don't have the Lord. So, yeah, they can be influenced by all of these celebrity platforms. That doesn't really influence me. So it's really nothing you can do about that, because you don't have any control on what they put or post on their platform. You can't control that. And at the end of the day, they have a right to do that, whether it's good or bad, because we know the Lord has given us free will. So even though someone may use their free will to influence people in a negative way, it's really nothing that we can do about that unless it gets to a level of it's going past their opinion, and then it's breaking laws, and it's criminal, and it's bullying. So with that being said, I just want to kind of briefly go back and talk about the actual statement. Now, we know that in the context of what Charlemagne the God say he meant it, if he was saying that it was a mental choice, looking at it today, yes, if slavery mentally is being chosen today, subconsciously. So many black people still have that slave mentality, and it's almost like it's in the DNA. You know, it's in the way that they're being raised, it's in the way that they're being cultured. And we all have experienced that, of had these types of thinkings, you know, especially if we're black and you grew up in an inner city, you know, urban area. It's, you know, it's certain things that you do. And I know I did that. I grew up in Detroit. So it's certain things that I've learned and picked up just being part of that city that as I got older, it was working against me. So it was kind of like my mentality, subconsciously, I was learning how to think mentally like a slave, even when it came to how I spend money and the relationships I was choosing, you know, and just how I lived my life. And then I go around to so many places because I'm a teacher and I teach in so many different cities. And I even see it in the children. You know, it's like I see some children, and it's and I'm not trying to be offensive. It's like they just left the slave plantation and they came to school. You know, it's like slavery didn't end, just ended yesterday or still going on. And it was, you know, especially when I was working in schools down south and in Maryland, I was amazed. I was like, what? And of course, the people there are not going to see it, because if you grew up with that, it's just normal to you. It's just a part of who you are. So it's almost like other people have to come from other areas and kind of say, you know, what's going on here. So yes, that mentally, people, you know, are choosing to still hold on to those slave mentality. Now, at the time when slavery was forced upon, no, they wasn't making any type of mental and emotional choice to be slave. They were traumatically beaten and severely emotionally brought down and stripped away of their culture and their religion and their values and morals, so the oppressor can program in those, you know, that slave mentality. So, and then each, you know, generation, you know, that was born, they taught it to their children, and then it just eventually becomes a part of the DNA. So we still see today that, yes, we still are suffering the effect of slavery. But now we know more. We have more knowledge. So a lot of people are just choosing to still live that lifestyle, choosing not to elevate themselves up. So that breaks my heart. Kanye West making a statement about the past doesn't break my heart as much as the current and the present situation that I see a lot of black people in and still holding on to that slave mentality. Now let's go to the spiritual, because we know spiritually that slavery of God's people was prophesied in the Bible. And that was through the story of Joseph and how he was sold into slavery because of jealousy and envy of his brothers. Now we know that Africans were forcefully brought from Africa and brought to the Americas and to other continents. Now every African is not of the tribe or descendant of Joseph. So some of these people, God's people, were mixed in with these African tribes and other tribes and races, and they were also brought over during that time into slavery and are currently here living in America, and which most of them wouldn't know their roots because it was all mixed up. Everybody was taking different places. They were all mixed in together. And quite frankly, most of the oppressors didn't really know who was from who and who was from where, and they didn't even care. It was just slaves, and they just need them to do the work. So if God is prophesying it, then that means that he allowed that to happen. On the spiritual level, he allowed his people to be sold into slavery. So spiritually, the Lord made that choice. Then it manifests mentally and physically as Joseph being sold into slavery. So if the Lord made that choice for Joseph, it's not going to be anything that Joseph can do to change the will of the Creator. So his personal will couldn't even change the Creator's will, because that was the will of the Creator for his people to go into slavery. Now, what for? Some may say, what would be the benefits of going into slavery? Why would the Creator allow for his people to go into slavery? Well, only thing I can say is it would be for the greater good. It would be something that's outside of our understanding or understanding, because we don't see the whole picture. So the Lord and the Creator is not going to allow his people to go through something so heinous as it was and it not be for a greater good. He's not going to say, oh, I think they should just go into slavery just because. So spiritually, their will was in connection with the Creator's will. So that's why that was allowed to happen. So nothing just happens. I mean, we could talk about historically, and we can talk about, okay, they physically brought the Africans over, they were forced. Yes, all that happened. Yet what you don't realize that everything has to be made a choice on a spiritual level. And then, mentally you have to keep making those choices. Now that we know that it's clear that slavery has ended, we can make a choice not to keep perpetuating that same mentality, slavery mentality, and heal ourselves of this emotional trauma that a lot of us is suffering from, including myself, that I had to heal. And having a connection with the Lord is the only way that healed me. And I feel and I believe in my heart that's the only way that's going to be able to heal everyone else from their traumas. So I just want to briefly talk about that. And I just want to say that factually and historically, the statement he made on a physical level is not accurate. If he's saying it in context of currently today making a mental choice, yes, you do have to mentally and emotionally keep making that choice. And then if you go on a spiritual level, that choice was already prophesied by our Creator, and so it's going to manifest on all levels. So I'm trying to think if I want to add anything else. You all can share your comments, or if you have any questions, if something I left out. But I do want to end with this, that we should be more outraged of the injustices and the slave mentality that we are consistently perpetuating today and right now, our current situation. And we need to be actively working together and uniting to come about changes for our people as a whole. And the only way that we're going to do that and be guided, where we're not misguided and misled or taking a partner with evil to do it, is to have the Lord guide us. He's the only one who can be our light to guide us out of this darkness. And us as individuals, we need to be careful what we keep attaching ourselves to on social media. Even if the event is happening, you have to be careful with your emotions, because it sucks you in and it pulls you in. And there are people and forces behind the scenes manipulating this, because everything turns into energy, and they're manipulating energy and taking and stealing energy to use that energy and will it against you. So just be careful. How you respond to something. Don't try to get so emotional. Don't try to jump on every sensational thing, everything that's trending on social media. That's why I've been led to cover these topics, because these are topics that it's getting the mind of the majority of the people. So the Lord is guiding me to talk about it and give a little bit more clarity, so people won't keep getting sunk in to the sunken place that they keep claiming everybody else is in, not realizing that they're sinking themselves in. So it's like a catch-22. So you really have to be careful.